views expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of WPSL. However, you're encouraged to like and share them on Facebook because it's time to find out what's happening in the community. Time for the Sue Ellen Sanders Show with Sue Ellen Sanders.
Welcome to the Sue Ellen Sanders Show. And, it's been a while since I've had the folks on from Big Brothers, Big Sisters. And Judy Miller has been so instrumental in creating the name for Big Brothers Big Sisters on the Treasure Coast, but it was kind of hard to fill her shoes, and their new Chief Operating Officer, CEO, is Stacey Watson Mesley, and she is here with me for the first time, but you have been on board Big Brothers, Big Sisters for quite some time now.
Yes. I came on in November, and it was really nice because Judy and I got to have a transition of about 2 months where we really, when you're following a legacy leader, it's very difficult.
Yes, that's
she was with the agency for 27 years, so it's a change for the community and the team. We wanted to make that really smooth. So we spent 2 months doing a very smooth transition, and then January 1st, I officially took the helm, and Judy has finally been able to enjoy her grandchildren and life outside of Big Brothers, Big Sisters.
Retirement.
Yes.
And Taylor Farnsworth is also new to the organization, but not new to the area, right?
No, I'm actually new to both.
Are you?
About a year ago, as of June 30th, it had been a year that I have been a Florida resident, and as of July 9th, it had been a year that I had been with Big Brothers Big Sisters. So I'm originally from Virginia, in the Richmond, Shenandoah Valley area. I had hopped around a couple times, but relocated here and started working with Big Brothers Big Sisters in the Fund Development Department.
And the two of you are really responsible for bringing in most of the dollars that support the Big Brothers Big Sisters programs, and there are so many in the area. And we're going to start the show by talking about some of the different programs. But alert, Big Brothers Big Sisters, their major bowling fundraiser, Bowl for Kids' Sakes, is coming up right around the corner. So we will be talking about that and how you can get involved in this show too. But let's talk a little bit about the mission and the programs.
Okay. When we're thinking about the vision of Big Brothers Big Sisters and the mission, it has not ever changed. It's about one-to-one mentoring. What has changed is the urgency with which we need mentors. And I just returned from the national conference, and our branding has changed as well as our outreach, because what we're realizing is that when you pair an adult, a responsible, loving adult, with a child who is in need, that child's potential is truly unlimited. But when a child is in their own, having to stand in their own corner and defend themselves, that's not really the case. So we've now become defenders of potential. And it's a fun tagline. It's a bold tagline.
It is.
And our T-shirts say defenders, and our Littles T-shirts say potential. And it really is about the very urgent message of our children need us to be adults, and they need us to stand up for them and stand beside them and be their supporters. So, but the mission has never changed. It's one-to-one mentoring.
A lot of times people confuse the Big Brothers Big Sisters with Boys and Girls Club just because they know that both are organizations that are for children, that help support children. But as you said, your mission is very definitive. It's a mentoring program, and your programs all stem from that one-on-one mentoring.
Yes, and I really, in that conversation around Big Brothers Big Sisters and Boys and Girls Club, I like to say something very important. We are partners in this work.
Absolutely,
and
yes.
it is about a continuum of care. So when you think about the laser focus of Big Brothers Big Sisters for 104 years nationally, over 30 years here, on one-to-one mentoring, and then really the group social emotional component that Boys and Girls Club allows for, you can see that this continuum of care is very necessary. It's a both and, it's not a one or the other.
And so both are agencies that work together, because some of the kids that may be mentees are or potential for Big Brothers Big Sisters may be some people that go to Boys and Girls Club clubhouses.
Truly.
So I think that really explains it very succinctly.
Mm-hmm.
You know how, you know, it's kind of like pieces of the pie that fit together.
Yes.
Because it truly takes a village to raise a kid. You said, Stacey, that more than ever, children need mentors. Why is that?
I think there's a multitude of reasons, and that in itself is probably a whole weekend of shows. But it's you know, there's a lot of pressure coming through social media. Technology has changed; it's moving at a pace that is mind blowing, and children are being exposed on every level to so much information so fast that I don't know that their minds are able to process it. And so then when you pair that with some of the social issues around children not connecting with their parents, or parents being incarcerated, or parents working 3 jobs. I mean, some of our children that need us, it's not because they don't have wonderful parents, it's because their parents are working a lot. And so it's really a lot that they're carrying, and as children, they can't carry all that pressure by themselves. They need us to help them carry it.
And it's interesting, and I'm sure that you've seen that in your work, but even when you have one parent or a provider or a family member that is very caring, a lot of times what they say doesn't matter as much as somebody from the outside world.
Yes, I am a testament to that. My mother tried everything to keep me on the straight and narrow. And this is something that I share freely and I openly disclose, but I left home at 17, determined that I could do it on my own. And that's not the case. I took a year and ended up, I was working and living on my own and thinking I was a grown-up, and then decided, well, if I could get into college, then I could survive a lot differently. And when I got there, there was a mentor that took me under her wing, and her name was Dr. Rita Sizemore Riddle, and her license plate actually said Dr. Mama. And she recognized me because she too came from a working class family, a poor family, and wasn't expected to go to college. And so as she mentored me, she was saying all of the same things that my mother had said. I just couldn't hear it.
When your mom said it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. As far as people's expectations, I saw a meme. Yeah, there's a lot of dangers in social media, and it's a time sucker. But there is, too, a lot of great information if you know how to use it and if you're guided to use it. And I did see something that talked about expectations, about a child's expectations only being as a child's performance only being as great as somebody's expectations of that child. And that's a sad fact of a child at any age, or even an adult, is if people around you expect you to do well, for example, go to college, become a professional, be successful in life, however you measure it, then you're more likely to do that than if people say, oh, you know, you're never going to get out of this town.
Yeah. That is the truth. When you think about what it takes for somebody to go from being a child in school to being a professional, you need people all along the way, patting you in the back, telling you can do it, telling you to believe in yourself. And, you know, when I got to know Taylor, and she had told me, we're both originally from Virginia, and she said, I went to the new school in New York City. That is impressive. And so when she came on, she became a big. And the story that she's working on with her little is that she could do the same thing that Taylor could. So maybe, Taylor, you could share a little bit about that.
Yeah, so after my 6 months of employment with Big Brothers Big Sisters, I was able to become a big sister. And with all of the transition and everything, I was a little nervous about committing time because I wanted to make sure that I was there fully for the child. But I had to sit down and I had to think, this is the mission of the organization. And if I'm not out there doing the mission, then I need to sit back and rethink kind of my priorities. So since I started in March, it has been a life-changing experience, and I think it's hard to see that going into it, how much it really is impactful to not only the child but to yourself. She is just like, I don't have any kids personally, like my husband and I don't have children, so I see her as a little sister, and as one of my own. She is amazing. She's super intelligent. She loves the art and theater world. And she just, every time I come in, or if I if I come on a Tuesday and not a Thursday, she's like, where were you? Like, I was really looking forward. She's extremely intellectual. So,
how old is she?
She's going to be a second grader. And
wow.
I feel like I feel like I'm talking to a fifth or sixth grader because she is just so far along in her knowledge of just, even reading. She is ahead in that. And, where we really connect is more of her, social emotional skills and building relationships with friends and just skills that she doesn't necessarily have time to work with someone one-on-one with. So we are looking to go to enhanced program, which is both site-based, which is our school-based program, which I see her once a week in that program. But when we go enhanced, I also can see her in the community. So I'll be able to take her on opportunities like going to the zoo and the theater and, different community activities that she might not get to experience in her own home just because both parents are working a lot and she doesn't have the transportation or her parents don't have the time. So it's been really exciting, and I've really truly loved every moment of it. So I'm excited to start seeing her again as school is starting up and just reconnect and build that relationship even stronger.
Well, that's a great lead-in for us to talk about. You said your main mission is a mentoring mission. So your greatest need, other than financial, of course, which is always something that's in need in the nonprofit community, would be volunteers.
Right. Yes.
Who can serve as big brothers and big sisters. So let's talk about a little bit about, it sounds like from what Taylor said, that you have a program where you have certain expectations of your volunteers. Someone can't just knock on the door or call you up and say, I want to be a big brother or big sister, and poof, you got one.
No, we look at the safety of the children and this is long game. This is not I'm showing up and doing a one-day event and leaving for volunteering. This is I'm investing my time in a child's life. And so we go through a pretty lengthy process with our bigs. It's not only about background checks, but also about really exploring what the big likes and dislikes, what their motivation is for doing this work. And when we pair them with a little, we do it with a lot of intention because we want the relationship to last. We don't want this to be just another adult that pops into a child's life and then disappears, because that could be more
detrimental than big at all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So one of the ways that we're looking to be intentional as we grow, this year we served the most amount of students we've ever served. We've served 1,687 students this year. And young people whose lives will be forever changed because of these amazing volunteers, and volunteers who will be forever changed because of these amazing children.
And that's in your school-based program.
That's the complete program. That's the complete program. And so as we are being very intentional with our recruitment, one of the areas that we want to grow is bigs and badges. And so right now we have the Chief of Police of Fellsmere as one of our bigs. We have 2 bigs from the Fort Pierce Police Department. And we are
bigs and badges.
Bigs and badges.
I like that.
And what this does is not only allow us to reach out to police departments, sheriff's departments, but fire departments, first responders, people who have already said, my life is about service, and invite them in to be bigs for our littles. Now, we also want to do that very intentionally with veterans.
Why is that? Why are those 2 groups of people important to you?
2 reasons. One, they've already stepped up to the plate.
Okay.
So when you think
so
about
they're more likely to be a volunteer and give back on themselves because that's what their career choice is.
and it's also been a part of their nature to
Yes.
give back.
Yeah.
And when I think about my husband as a veteran and I look at his friends, and there's, they're 40 and 50-year-old veterans that haven't yet been asked to be volunteers in anything. And these are guys and women who have already said, I want to serve. So I want to be very intentional about reaching out to them. I also want to be very intentional with this Bigs and Badges. These are the people who protect our community. And when we talk about being defenders of potential, that's what we want. And when you think about little kids, who didn't love someone in a uniform? I didn't care if it was somebody from UPS or somebody from the police department or the fire department. I thought they were the coolest, most professional people in the world when I was little.
But also, in today's world, you're changing the conversation
Yes.
about badges
Right.
because, unfortunately, people who wear badges don't get the same level of respect and caring and positivity as they did, even 10 years ago. It may be because of the children's experiences or what they see on the news or what they see on social media.
Yeah.
But, so you're really turning it around for them. You're turning the conversation around for them.
Right. And when our national office, our headquarters, Big Brothers Big Sisters, rolled out with this idea and program, the main focus was really to bridge the gap between law enforcement and the child, and build a community and relationship there. So there's all over, Big Brothers Big Sisters kind of designs their Bigs and Badges or Bigs and Blue a little differently, but it really is. And I know first off, my dad is an officer, and knowing that he would love to mentor a child. And I think that's cool. When I talked to him about the program, he said that's such an amazing program, and he hopes and wishes that this program will expand into every state so that we can really bridge that gap and build a relationship.
That's not saying that somebody who doesn't wear a badge isn't as
Absolutely.
valuable to you, but that's one direction you're looking to grow in.
Sure.
And vets, the veterans, I can see that is a two-way street as well. Because Taylor, as you said already, just being a big sister for a short period of time, you've gotten as much from her,
Right.
and you've learned and grown along the way as well.
Absolutely.
So when we think about recruitment of mentors, what we want to find those people who really have something special, and that something special can be any skill. I have a slide when I go and do presentations, and it says who is a big, and I have every one of the careers listed that people who are bigs with us have, and it ranges artist, musician, plumber, police officer, attorney. It just runs the gamut. What we really want is someone who will take the time to share with a young person in need.
And Taylor, you pointed out, you have those common interests. So you do a questionnaire. You want to know on both sides, because it's so much easier to connect from day one if you have that common interest.
Right, and to give you an example of like how our case managers are in detail with that, they sit down with the child before and do a smaller interview with them, kind of getting to know their interests, like you said, background, and kind of what they're looking for in a big. And personally, my little, when they interviewed her, she obviously shared her love for arts. So immediately our case manager thought of me, knowing I was interested in becoming a big sister. But she also said, I just want someone I can trust. And so I loved that. And she said, I'm willing to be 100% authentic if I can trust this person. And I mean, just with that comment, it can kind of show you her level of intelligence for a first grader at the time. And these were her exact words. Yeah, so they actually had this written down on her sheet. So they came to me and they're like, Taylor, I think we really have a great match for you. So they then did the interview with me, and that's kind of how they can see the two matches to be compatible. So that's in every process of our Bigs and Littles.
Okay, so once somebody applies and is interviewed and matched. Before they're matched up, do they have a meetup with their potential little brother or sister to start with?
Yeah, so they do the interview separately to kind of get a feel for who they're going to match with, like I just described. And then
That's step one.
So that's step one, yep. And then step two, the case manager visits you the first time you're with your little. And he just observes, or she observes kind of the relationship, kind of bridging that gap of the, I don't know you yet. They are familiar with the case
Party
manager.
of three is always kind of easier to talk
Yes.
than when
Yes.
it's just one-on-one.
Yes.
There's no pressure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And they help with prompting some,
Right.
beginning questions. And then honestly, by 5 minutes, it's really a start of a great thing. I mean, we hit it off and she was comfortable. It's just that initial contact. They're learning, they're observing, they're engaging with you and learning if they can trust you. And I would say by the third time she was 100% fully herself and the person I know now. So
Can potential bigs request an age group or a gender particular?
Well, we have rules around that. So after a certain age, we no longer match cross gender, and that's just
For everybody's protection.
for everybody's
Yeah.
protection.
Yeah.
And however, we do try to ask the big where they're most comfortable. So if I were a big, which at this point, National does not encourage the CEOs all the time to serve as bigs, but if I were a big, I've spent my whole career working with teenagers. I am an ace at working with teenagers, so that would be where I would be most comfortable. And so we do try to make sure that we're hitting those matches and those requests, but what we want most is to know that the personalities that we're putting together will mesh, and that each month when we do the monitoring of that relationship, both with the child and the mentor, but also with the parent or guardian. So this isn't an exclusive relationship that excludes the adults that are in that child's life. This includes those adults.
So it is, you're kind of not just mentoring the child, you're mentoring the family.
Yes. And one of the fun ways we get to see that is in our BBBS Reads program, which places mentors.
I used to be a BBBS
You were?
mentor, yeah.
So
in
you
the
know all
school.
about it. It's a wonderful program through Volunteer Florida and AmeriCorps, and those bigs are in the schools. They're called members, and they are in the schools, and we really get to see this long-term relationship build, and it's pretty incredible, those programs and the way they change a child's life.
Yeah.
It's a good way to kind of dip your toe into the waters, or if you're busy and you don't have time to develop a relationship that's outside the school system. The Reads program is great, and especially I was a writer and I was really into children and the literature, and I just didn't understand why all kids didn't want to read. I just didn't get it. And so because I didn't get it, it was a good idea for me to be, and I was set up with a young man who was in second grade who couldn't read yet. And what I found out after about the third or fourth weekly meeting was that it was because he hadn't found a book worth reading. And
Excellent.
once we figured that out, I started bringing in or getting from the library books about sports and mainly sports, football, and he was motivated to learn to read those.
Yeah.
He could pick out words, sure, but he wanted to find out what that book said. And so he was really motivated, and it was exciting to me, but it was also a surprise to me. And it was not something that he was at a highly ranked elementary school. He had awesome teachers, but he had just never communicated to them that he didn't see any point in reading because there wasn't anything. He didn't want to read the stuff they were offering him.
Well, first of all, thank you for doing that, because that changed somebody's life. When you think about the impact of students not being able to read, and how that impacts graduation rates, how that impacts future
All
careers.
subjects, yes.
I mean, everything is affected by a child's ability to read and comprehend. And
unfortunately, at some point, they do have to read things other than what they want to read.
exactly.
But while they can, you know.
and so you've truly changed a life by doing that. But as you think about, there's a content issue there. Finding what a child wants to read changes all of everything. When I had my school and I was working in Buffalo, New York with young people who had dropped out of school, I had a partner in the work and who owned a bookstore. And I said, can I bring my kids to the bookstore? They were all over 16. I said, can I bring my kids to the bookstore and can we just have them choose the book they read? And so they opened the bookstore for us and allowed us to come in, and the children chose the book they wanted.
And it just, like you said, changes the whole thing up. We're talking to Stacey Watson Mesley.
Yes, Mesley.
And Taylor Farnsworth with Big Brothers Big Sisters. You're listening to the Sue Ellen Sanders Show. We've been talking about becoming a mentor for Big Brothers Big Sisters, and we'll talk more about their programs and about their special events when we come right back. Stay tuned.
Now back to the Sue Ellen Sanders Show.
Welcome back, and if you've just joined us, we've been talking to Taylor Farnsworth and Stacey Watson Mesley from Big Brothers Big Sisters, and we've been talking about the importance of the mentors, or the bigs as you call them, and the focus and mission of Big Brothers Big Sisters. There are some specific programs. You mentioned in the last segment, you mentioned programs that were looking for people with badges and vets, but there are other programs that you deal with that you are trying to address certain parts of certain children who are in need. And you were telling me during the break about a reinvigorated program and a partnership with Diamond Liddy.
Yes. So through the Department of Juvenile Justice, the Big Brothers Big Sisters Association of Florida and the legislators that we work with all supported recurring funding through the state budget that allows for Big Brothers Big Sisters agencies across the state to work with children who are on some level engaged with the Department of Juvenile Justice. That means that they can have a parent who is incarcerated, that they have a sibling that is somewhere in the juvenile justice system, or they themselves are in the juvenile justice system. When we talked about that, we have not been doing that program for a few years, and when I came on, I really wanted to understand a little better why. And so it became apparent to me that what we needed was a partnership. So I reached out to Diamond Liddy, who has been a BIG for over a decade, and said, why don't we just partner with the work that you're doing? I had heard her speak and heard her talk about the different courts that they have here, and I thought, why don't we just do a partnership? And so I went over and met with her, and so now we are partnering with the 19th Judicial District's Public Defender's Office on working with specifically 15 children who meet these Department of Juvenile Justice recommendations of service, so that we can work to keep children out of getting involved further in the juvenile justice system.
And that's so important, especially if you are the child or the sibling of somebody who is incarcerated, because that's the single biggest determiner of, what your future brings as a child. What that child's future brings is it's a predictor for them. And if you can mentor them and be there for them and have somebody who is their own special person, it's brings out their potential.
It truly does. The average is 60%, the likelihood of ending up in the juvenile justice system if you have a parent or sibling that is incarcerated. And so we truly want to avert that. Thus far, the state of Florida has been incredibly successful with this program. So Big Brothers Big Sisters Association of Florida, our 11 affiliates throughout the state, has a 100% success rate of keeping our children out of the juvenile justice system when they've been matched with a BIG.
That's incredible.
100%.
Yeah. That's just wonderful. But you can't run these programs on your own. No. There's, for example, the people who interview the potential littles and bigs. They have to get a salary, and it takes money and time to be out in the community and to provide the tools that you need to be successful. Where does your funding come in?
So we have the current breakdown of funding is we are 55% dependent on government grants at this point, and then the rest of our funding is coming through really Taylor's office, and that's the
lot
development.
Of pressure there.
No pressure, Taylor. But working not only with individual donors, but also with community events, and thinking about long-term planning for the agency and what sustainability looks like. So we have a varied portfolio right now of where our funding comes from. I would like to diversify that a little bit more. I don't like to think of corporate sponsorships. I like to think of corporate allies. So people who are truly allies in the work and who on a daily basis bring up the work. So nationally, Starbucks has become a huge ally in this work. Neiman Marcus has joined on in this work. So locally, I would like to see us become closer with those agencies as well, those businesses. But raising funding to make this happen is a huge part of the work that, as Chief Executive Officer, I do, as development officer, Taylor does, and in our marketing department. It's a lot of effort, a lot of energy, and of course our board of directors plays a significant role in making that happen as well.
So growth aside, just to stay current with what you've got, you have 45%, the other half of what's not federally funded through government grants. And that's a whole chunk of change that you need to raise in one way or another. You mentioned partnerships like with Neiman Marcus and Starbucks, but you're always looking for, people to, whether it's a family foundation or a private donation or other grants other than federal grants.
Right. And we work closely with the community when we plan our events too, just so we are being intentional about making sure our community is engaged in what we're doing. So one of those events that's coming up is Bowl for Kids' Sake, which is happening on September 21st at Super Play USA in St. Lucie County.
And so much fun.
Yes, that is one of my favorite events. I mean, I love all of our events, but this one is just a really cool picture of our community, especially in St. Lucie County. We have every school in St. Lucie County District come out and bowl for the day. This year we have sessions of 9 a.m., 11 a.m., and 1 p.m. And let me tell you, our 11 I'm sorry, I should have said p.m., but I meant a.m. 11 a.m. Time slot, we've already filled completely almost. So we have 2 slots left there. Our 1 o'clock time is kind of where we are seeing the more of the gap. But people are excited and signing up, and it's just a fun fellowship community event that we've been doing now for 31 years.
And it's a team building event too. So not just schools, but businesses.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to do something that's team building, there's nothing like bowling side by side.
That's right. Yeah.
We just did a Glow Bowling birthday party for the Early Learning
Oh,
Coalition. We
fun.
did not run it as a fundraiser.
Mhm.
It was just supposed to be a fundraiser, everybody coming out and playing and having a good time. And honestly, it took us by surprise as a group and our child care providers as well, how much fun it was to bowl.
Yes.
And how much we saw another aspect of the people that we worked with or worked alongside every day.
Right.
So great team builder.
Yes, absolutely, for sure. And we work, over the phone, via email with a lot of these people through the schools, through companies, through different things throughout the year. So this is one of the events where everyone comes out, and it's nice to meet, talk, have that time to really connect, because it just is a great face-to-face interaction.
And that's the other thing about bowling is it's got to be one of the most social sports there is, because you have enough downtime where you can chit chat with each other and get to know each other. So how does one sign up for a team? How much does it cost? And what type of advanced planning do they need to fundraise ahead of time?
Yeah, so we have a website that we've designated for registration. It's B as in boy, the number 4, ks.org. So they can go on there, they can sign up. It's $35 per player, and then we're recommending 4 to 5 people per lane. So if you have 8, obviously do 2, but it's you can sign up through there, and in advance we do have an optional fundraising. So a lot of our schools like to do Jeans Day, or they fundraise for Spirit Week, and they give those funds to Bowl for Kids' Sake and to Big Brothers Big Sisters as an additional funds on top of their registration fee.
But that is optional.
Yes.
So
Yes.
if you just want to go and do it and have your team there the day of the event, and you just maybe your plate is full and you don't have time for any other things, then this is something for $35 a person. You can put your team together, or a whole lane together, both sides of the, what's it called? Is each side a lane when you work together?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so what's it called, both lanes together? Is there a name for that?
I don't know. Yes, there
Okay.
must be.
Yeah.
I need to research that.
Bowling, also the great equalizer for those of us who
And that's the cool thing about bowling, is you do get to know the person who's at the lane right next to you too. You get to know their group too. But you also don't necessarily have to be good at bowling to have a good time.
No, I love it because everyone's there to support Big Brothers Big Sisters and celebrate the work that we do. And a lot of teams, like, we advertise, you don't have to be a good bowler. Just come out and enjoy time of fellowship with your staff, with us, and with the kids. We have matches that come, and with their bigs. Our community matches come and they participate, or our families come with their parents, and it's just a really cool time. It's really fun to see. It's a very organic event. event too.
And when somebody shows up and they say, I have my own ball and I have my own shoes.
Yeah.
Then I shouldn't play anywhere near them.
I know, I should not be on their team.
Yeah. But it's something, so you can sign up now. Sign-ups are going on now. And really, you need to sign up soon if you want the time. Because as you said, the 11 a.m. Shift is already pretty much sold out. But then you have 9 a.m. and 1 p.m.
Yeah, so we're encouraging teams to sign up at the 9 or 1 right now because there is only 2 lanes left at the 11.
So when they come and they sign up, they're there for the 2 hours. What else is there that's going on? That is something. Is there something that they should get there a little bit earlier? They just come in and bowling their 2 hours and then leaving.
Yeah. So they come in. What we are advertising and what people who are seasoned with this event know is they come in. They typically are there to bowl with their team, but they also can partake in our raffles, which are always fantastic. And then we have a DJ from Trax Entertainment that comes to offer.
So you got that music that's going on.
Yes, which is fun.
There's
and
nothing like bowling next to music.
As well as the glow bowl component.
Yeah.
So that is fun. The last 45 minutes of your bowling, they actually turn the lights off. And
they do.
We have a lot of fun things with the glow bowl. We have our marketing and development coordinator going around taking pictures with props. They get a t-shirt that is lime green that will glow in the dark. So we are excited about that. But really, it is that time of fellowship with their team and, just team building with their company or their coworkers or whatever they choose to use that time for.
And just a little aside for Super Play, they're really trying to get more and more involved in the community. And if you're looking for something to do that's a team builder or a friend raiser or a fundraiser, if you want to take it to the donation level, what a great place. I know when my kids were little and Super Play first opened up, I'm dating myself here, it was an easy place to go for a special event or for a Saturday afternoon outing because you went, you did the stuff, and then you packed up the kids and you went home. And the same thing for this type of event for you all as a special event, as a fundraiser, is everybody's having a good time. You're not asking people to pay a lot of money just to come sit at a dinner where the chicken is not usually so great because they cook 200 pieces all together.
Right.
This is something fun and exciting. It can be a team builder for your company or for your school, and it's easy to do and not very expensive either when you think about, what. And so the money, 100% of the money that is the proceeds goes to Big Brothers Big Sisters.
Yes, it goes straight back to our programs, and we have lots of wonderful sponsors that help with the funds of that as well. So the community can, if they're not already engaged in that, has the opportunity to engage in sponsorship. They are, depending on what level they choose to sponsor, they are then offered a lane as a perk to come with their team as well.
So as a sponsor, you can also get a lane as part of your sponsorship. And people can sign up on the website.
Yep.
And if they need to be sent to that, can they go, do you have like a Facebook event, a Facebook page?
Yep, we have a Facebook event. They can go to our Big Brothers Big Sisters website, which is bbbsbigs.org, or they can go to the event-specific website, which is B as in boy, the number 4ks.org, and they can register right through there. Even if they're interested in sponsorship, they can go through that website as well as register their team.
And we'll have all that information written down, or if you're listening this weekend and you just wake up on Monday morning, you can call the Big Brothers Big Sisters office and find out how to bowl too. What is the number for Big Brothers Big Sisters?
So they can call 772-466-8535, and they can contact me personally at extension 213.
Okay, and just say you're a friend of Taylor's.
Yeah.
And you're calling. You have also an event that's going on in Okeechobee, right around the corner.
Yes, we're really excited. One of the ways we want to diversify the work that we do, we have a beautiful event in Vero called Chocolate, Champagne, and Chefs coming up on October 28th. And then we wanted to have a really fun event out in Okeechobee. And historically, it's been called Boots and Burgers. This year, we added a new component, bikes.
I was going to say it had to start with a B.
I was an English
Yeah,
teacher. I
yeah,
really like
yeah.
alliteration.
Me too.
But, so Boots, Burgers, and Bikes. And what that is, it's an opportunity. We have a band playing. We're having it at C. Scott Driver Park. And it is going to be an outdoor event. There is an inside portion, so if people need to cool off, they can. But there's a motorcycle show. And there is, we had these beautiful trophies that they're really the tops of whiskey barrels. They were made in Kentucky and by artisans, and they have metal contraptions all over them, the first, second, and third prize. But there's a motorcycle show that's really, it's free for the motorcycles to participate in the show. Of course, they have to pay the admission fee to the event, which is $25, but that includes participating in the burger contest. So we'll be awarding the best burger in Okeechobee. And so we have live music, the best burger in Okeechobee. We have the Flavored Fork and multiple other sponsors supporting. And we are really fortunate. We had Be a Man by Land came in to support this event. And I was thrilled to see that. And then I was also excited because FPL has joined us in
That's
celebrating
great.
this event.
And
So
the best part about having different types of special events, like you talked about, Stacey, is you'll find that different sponsors want to reach different audiences at different types of event.
that's exactly
And
right.
I love the fact that you've expanded it to bikes because surprisingly, there are a lot of people who have picked up biking at different stages in their life. Some of them, as they're getting ready to retire, they have more time for motorcycles.
Right. That's right.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to make sure that we mentioned that today because here's some more self-disclosure. I am a biker. And
You are. See, this is what I'm talking about. The misconception that bikers all are big, husky guys with tattoos
that are mean
and, yeah.
And generally it's actually a really generous, loving group of people and warm. And so I thought, well, let's invite people because that has to be the most beautiful drive in Florida. Crossing from here over to Okeechobee. It is stunning. And I know a lot of St. Lucie residents that take that drive and then ride around the lake. So we thought this is a great way to integrate our St. Lucie work and our Okeechobee work.
It is,
So
absolutely.
we hope some
yeah.
St. Lucie folks will join us out in Okeechobee on the 24th for that event.
So how does the burger part work, the best burger? Who's going to be competing for the best burger?
Sure. So we have extended the invite to locally Okeechobee vendors as well as some of our portable vendors who also participate in our Taste of St. Lucie, but we have currently the Flavored Fork, who is stationed here at the Sunshine Kitchen in Fort Pierce, but he serves Okeechobee County as well through catering services. We have Highway 55, who will be participating in their franchise, which is in Okeechobee, and we have the Okeechobee Livestock Market, who will be participating. So we're excited about that, and how that works is they are doing samples of their best burger. So like they will do a French onion soup burger or a brisket burger, or these are just examples that I've gotten so far. So I am excited to taste myself.
My
but
eyes are getting really
I know.
big.
So they will sample their burgers either through sliders or cutting a full-size burger into fours.
Yeah.
And guests will take a sample of each one, and then they will vote for the best burger in Okeechobee, and they will be then honored with a beautiful barrel top, like Stacey was explaining earlier, that says best burger in Okeechobee. And we are just grateful for their support and Big Brothers Big Sisters.
And because we are Big Brothers Big Sisters, we did not forget to create a kid zone. So we have bounce houses. We have a sponsor who's bringing in bounce houses and board
Again, B.
Yes,
And board games, right?
Right, yes.
bounce
Bounce
houses,
houses,
is
board
giant
games.
board games.
Did you give them a list of words they could
Yes.
use?
I said it must start with B. And so we have a kids zone as well. And so the children will have a place to play if they like as well. So we have separate entrances. There's a motorcycle entrance and a car entrance. And so we have volunteers helping along the way. So anybody that wants to attend that really can do the same thing. Come to our website. We have a separate website for that, which
And
is
the day and the time again?
that is August 24th from 2 to 5 in the afternoon.
So that'll be next weekend
Yes.
from when
Yes.
this is airing.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's right around the corner. And it sounds like a really fun activity. And also, who doesn't like a good burger?
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's like, and also nice to try somebody else's burger. Burgers always taste better when somebody else cooks them.
Right.
So,
So I'm excited to try too if I have the time to.
so for $25,
Yes.
that includes the bike show, the burger tasting,
Live music,
live music.
one beverage.
And if you're tasting multiple pieces of burger, then you're getting more than one burger.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, they will get 3 sides if they choose. We have baked beans that are donated. We have a potato salad that local cafe is also donating as an in-kind. We have soft drinks, 1 adult beverage ticket if you're of age to use. And then we also have a different a component of it that we haven't talked about much is the book drive. So in
Thank you,
there we
Stacey.
go.
Yes.
In efforts
Book
to
drive?
help
Yeah.
teachers with their classroom libraries, we are asking that guests bring 2 new books from the summer reading list that is also listed on the website.
Yeah.
So if they bring 2 of those, they can also get another beer voucher with those 2 new books that they donate.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What time is it on the 24th?
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock. So we thought 2 to 5 makes it a great family time. It also makes it a great riding time for people that are on motorcycles. It's an afternoon, so anybody that wants to do something in the morning on Saturday or has errands to run, they still can do that, and then still be home in time for, if you have children, to put your children to bed or whatever else.
It sounds like a lot of fun. Now, so those are the 2 events that you have coming up within the next month or so. And then you have, you mentioned in Vero, you have the chocolate
Champagne and chefs.
Yes. That's the C night.
That's the
there
C
we go.
night. And that's on October 28th. And then we're already planning the 20th anniversary of Taste of St. Lucie.
20 years
Yes.
of Taste of St.
Yes.
Lucie.
Yes.
And that comes up in
April.
So it's coming around the corner in April. And that's a during the week event too, but it's early evening.
It is.
And what I love about that event traditionally is that it's not just about the food, although there's plenty of food
Yes.
there, but it's about running into people that you haven't seen all year.
Yes.
This year it was really fun. It was, of course, my first year being a part of the event, but the food was amazing, as well as seeing so much fellowship. And so Treasure Coast Lexus is a giant supporter of this and is really who is making this possible. And we can't wait to unleash the 20th anniversary experience.
So it's going to be at the Lexus location again?
Yes, it will.
And then you invite people from restaurants from throughout the community, throughout the Treasure Coast, really, who come, and they compete, but they also get people to try them for the first time. And I can't tell you how many new restaurants we've tried because we tasted their food.
Yes.
At that Taste of St. Lucie.
And their support is awesome. I mean, they are donating their time and their product to the event. And we appreciate that when we love partnering with everyone. We had 16 new restaurants come on this year, and we were extremely excited to have every single one there. It was a great turnout. And, we just, again, are so grateful for their support because it is a lot of time for them, as well as preparing and, making sure they have everything they need to present this at Taste of St. Lucie.
And they bring their A game.
Yes, they do.
They don't bring like the cheapy appetizers. They
No.
bring
No.
their good stuff.
Yes, they
because
do.
they know that people like me are coming to the event, and that the following weekend I'm one of those people who won't try a new place unless I've tried it.
Right.
That creates a difficult situation
It's
for my
hard.
husband.
I'm the same way.
Or
yeah.
he's got to give me proof that somebody he actually knows has been to that restaurant. And Taste of St. Lucie is perfect for people like me who want to try. So 16 new restaurants coming on board, and you already have how many?
This past year we had 42
Oh
vendors.
my goodness.
42.
So
Yeah.
come hungry.
Yes. Come very hungry.
Skip breakfast, skip lunch that day, come hungry. And that event is coming up in the spring, so we'll have time to have you guys come back on
Sure.
and talk about it.
Great.
Meanwhile, if people want to sign up to be sign up to be a mentor, they can contact you through your website or call Taylor or Stacey over at Big Brothers Big Sisters.
Absolutely.
And you can also sign up to a Bowl for Kids' Sake.
Mm-hmm.
And the date again for Bowl for Kids' Sake?
September 21st, and that's a Saturday.
September 21st, so just over a month away. And again, you need to go ahead and sign up for your lane. Certainly you have 3 or 4 other folks in your family or at work that might want to do this with you. It's cheaper, honestly, if you do it with other people at work, 'cause then you're only paying for one.
Right.
But it's a lot of fun, too, with your family, and it's nice to have a family event that you go to. That's coming up in September, and you can sign up now. Thank you both for joining me today. Taylor Farnsworth is the development officer for Big Brothers Big Sisters, and Stacey Watson Mesley is the CEO for Big Brothers Big Sisters. We look forward to having you back or seeing you bowling.
All right. You will see us trying to bowl.
Yeah, okay. That works. We'll see you back next week with more.
Archives of the Sue Ellen Sanders Show can be found on YouTube. Look for WPSL TV on YouTube, or WPSLTV.com will take you directly to our YouTube presence where you can find archives of the Sue Ellen Sanders Show.